Today on Upfront, Wisconsin's primary season heads into the home stretch. Next, what insiders are saying about the Republican primary for U.S. Senate and the Democratic primary for governor. We have insight and analysis from Republican strategist Mark Grohl and Democratic strategist Joe Zepecki. Then Milwaukee's streetcar on track for running full-time in the fall. Today, Mayor Tom Barrett on why he says critics of the project will be won over. And more tariffs and more challenges for Wisconsin farmers. The effect on them as trade troubles heat up.
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Upfront with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Upfront. For the candidates running in Wisconsin's August 14th primary, this is crunch time. For the next month, every hour of every day matters a lot. The primaries, of course, determine who faces off in the November general election. And this year, there are competitive contests on both sides of the aisle. Republicans have a primary for U.S. Senate. The major candidates are State Senator and nurse Leah Vukmir and Delafield business consultant and Marine veteran Kevin Nicholson. Democrats have a primary for governor. And even though a couple of candidates dropped out recently, it is still a large field with 8 candidates running active campaigns. We're talking about the primary races today and what insiders are saying about them. Our guests are Republican consultant Mark Grohl at our Green Bay affiliate WBAY-TV and Democratic campaign operative Joe Zepecki of Milwaukee. And I'll begin with you, Joe, and we'll talk about the Democratic race for governor. Tony Evers, the guy who is best known to the general public. He's been ahead in the polls that we've seen so far. Is this really his race to lose?
No, he needs to go out there and win it. I think the fact that you have not seen mass communication from candidates for governor on the Democratic side means that in the last month here, there's going to be some movement. And if I was Mr. Evers, I would be working my tail off, running like I'm behind, because the moment there appears to be an alternative, he stands at risk of losing some of that support. So I think it's going to be a fast and furious final sprint here. And I think there's 3 or 4 candidates that have a very clear path to the nomination.
And those 3 or 4, who are you talking about?
Those that have demonstrated that they can raise the resources or self-fund. So I'm looking at Mr. Evers, former state representative Kelda Roys, Malin Mitchell, the head of the firefighters union, and Matt Flynn of Milwaukee has demonstrated an ability to raise money. The other candidates are running races and they're running strong, but it's hard to see how they have the money to get up on TV and get their message out.
Mark Grohl, you work in Republican circles. Give us a sense of who Scott Walker would like to run against. Of the names we've just been talking about, who would best set up for a November election for Scott Walker?
Well, I think what's most telling about that Democratic primary is here we are 5 weeks away, and I mean, nobody knows much about any of the candidates. Evers is kind of the default front runner because he's been elected statewide, but still even he, I think, only has somewhere around 30-35% name ID. So we're talking about a field that really hasn't distinguished itself quite yet. And really, when you're running against an incumbent and in these incumbent races, it's much more about the incumbent than it is about the challenger. And I think Scott Walker's in a position right now where he has the best story he's ever had to tell. We have record low unemployment in this state. We have a budget surplus. We have more money going to education than ever before. We have property taxes lower than they were 8 years ago. So he's got a great story to tell. So I'm really not sure how any of these Democratic candidates who have not yet distinguished themselves really are going to mount much of a tough campaign, except for the environment that we're all expecting to be tough for Republicans.
So you don't think there's necessarily a candidate that Scott Walker would prefer to meet up against in November?
Listen, I think Tony Evers is sort of your traditional Democratic candidate. I think that of all of them, he's an easily quantifiable commodity that I think Governor Walker would match up really well against.
Joe Zepecki, do the candidates that you've talked about, do they realistically have the time and the resources? You say they do. But there's not much time left, and there's very little known about many of these folks at this moment in time.
There's not much time, but it doesn't take a lot of time. Listen,
you can break out in a month?
You can break out in a month. Most Wisconsinites are doing what most of us wish we were doing all week this week, which is taking a little time off, spending time with the kids, shuttling them to their activities, enjoying the fireworks, having a summer. When the 80% or so of the public that's going to vote in these primaries tunes in, they don't need 2 or 3 months of primary advertising. So I think there's definitely enough time. And I think the Republicans are going to need it in their primary as well, because we haven't seen a whole lot from them either. You know, between the two of them, Mr. Nicholson and Senator Vukmir have aired one TV spot that they put out. So I think
there have been plenty of other TV spots, at least in Kevin Nicholson's part, yeah.
There have been.
And that's one more than any of the Democrats have run.
Yeah, good point. Point well taken. Give me a sense, Mark Brawl, of that Senate race. You have really seen the Republican establishment coming to the aid of Leah Vukmir in this race. Kevin Nicholson says, so what? It's an outsider's year. Tell us about the importance of that. Does it make a difference in a low turnout election?
Well, I mean, I think the word establishment gets thrown around quite a bit. Leah Vukmir has always been sort of an anti-establishment kind of Republican. I mean, she's never been the favorite of the leadership in the legislature where she served. She's sort of always chartered her own course and aggressively pushed a conservative agenda in the state legislature. So I think she has done a great job of unifying the grassroots, if you would, behind her candidacy and her campaign. And I think that is incredibly important in these low turnout elections that we're going to see in August. So I think she's put herself in a really good position. She's now gained the support of most of the members of the congressional delegation, and obviously the endorsement at the convention. I think all of that shows the strong grassroots campaign she's running. That said, Kevin Nicholson has run a strong campaign too. Now he's gotten a lot of support from outside the state, but that really doesn't matter. All that money spends the same. And I think he's done a good job of sort of positioning his story as an outsider, his military background, which is exemplary, and done a good job of positioning himself as a strong candidate as well. I think you have two really strong candidates in that Republican primary for U.S. Senate.
Joseph Pecky, let me turn the question around. I asked something along these lines to Mark earlier, but I'll ask it of you. If you're Tammy Baldwin, would you prefer to run against Kevin Nicholson, or do you want to run against Leah Vukmir?
I don't think it matters. I think the Republicans have a very different primary going on. They got to bring everybody back together the day after August 14th, and that's a real difference because Senator Vukmir and Mr. Nicholson have been, very sharp with each other. And on the Democratic side, in the race for governor, you've seen every candidate united in one belief. August 15th, it's time to focus on Governor Walker. I think it will last. I think that given everything that we're seeing out of Washington, every Republican in the country is going to have a very difficult time running for federal office, distinguishing themselves from President Trump, and whether it's a sabotage of healthcare, whether it's trade wars and tariff fights that even our own companies like Harley-Davidson get caught up in the middle of. I think it's going to be a very tough year to run as a federal Republican due to what's happening in Washington.
So I wanted to ask each of you, and maybe this is sort of a closing thought from each of you. You've been there. Mark Brawl, you ran Mark Green's campaign for governor. Joseph Pecky was a communications person for Mary Burke 4 years ago. What's the best advice when you're about a month out from a big election? This is a primary, not a general election, obviously. But when you're about a month out, what's the best advice that you have for these campaigns as they move forward? Mark Brawl, I'll begin with you.
Yeah, well, especially the primary and the general are two really different animals.
Right.
But as we look at this primary election, and I would say this is, I imagine Joe will largely agree with me that this runs true for both the Democrats and the Republicans, and maybe even more so in the Democratic primary, where it's only going to take maybe 30%, maybe even 25% of the vote to win that primary. You really need to focus and put your resources towards what you think your vote goal is for what you need to win that election. So if you're Leah Vukmir or Kevin Nicholson, you're really focusing on the electorate that you think is going to carry you to victory in August. That means lots of contact to those folks with volunteers and paid mail and in social media, digital advertising, things of that nature. I really focus my efforts and our energy on trying to figure out who I need to vote for me and how I get them to the polls.
Joseph Pecky?
Mark was right. I agree with him 100%. So what I would add to it is make sure you're taking care of yourself. Whichever candidate and their team that do end up claiming these nominations, they're not done. They don't get to take a nap on August 15th. They have to gear back up for a fall campaign that is guaranteed to be, hotter, heavier, more stressful. So I hope that all of the folks on the Republican and Democratic side in all of these campaigns are taking care of themselves getting a little bit of a break before this last stretch here.
Democratic strategist Joe Zepecki and Republican strategist Mark Grohl, thanks to both of you for being with us today.
Thanks,
The
Mike.
two biggest incumbents up for re-election this fall, Democrat U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and Republican Governor Scott Walker, are airing television spots months ahead of the November general election. Our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, tracks the ads and the spending on their election blog. Later on up front, worry down on the farm, the impact of new tariffs and the outcome ag leaders are hoping for. But first, all aboard the Hop. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett on the city's new streetcar and why he thinks critics of the project will eventually come around.
Up Front with Mike Goucher, brought to you by the American Transmission Company and the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association.